Alright, how's it going, everybody? It is Donut, and we are watching episode 10 of Season 5, Them. I didn't talk about it last episode, by the way, but the What's Happened and What's Going On is probably my favorite title in all of The Walking Dead now. I think that is one of the most thematic and emotional titles in the entire fucking season. Series. I want to say series, not even season. And man, like, editing that reaction was emotional again. I cried again editing that. Fuck, man. That episode. I really did not care for Tyrese that much until the last episode really made me see his whole character in retrospect in a light I'd never seen him before. And that is, that is high praise for an episode to be able to do that. I said I couldn't remember the name of the estates. I did check it again. It was Shire Wilt Estates, which is fantastic. You know, Wiltshire Estates and then Shire Wilt Estates for the show. Pretty cool. I was surprised I didn't catch that just in the moment of watching it, but I couldn't remember what it was in the comics either. I had to relook that up too. But yeah, rip Tyrese, man. Rip Tyrese. But this episode is Them. Not sure what that's going to be about. I did see the W on the walkers' heads as well in editing. I didn't notice that at all. Yeah, the W in their head, which we've seen before in the show, but I do not remember where we've seen that. I don't think it came up again, but I know we have seen that at some point. A zombie with a W on their head. I don't remember where. Anyway, let's get into this episode. Them. Alright, let's discuss it. Season 5, Episode 10, Them. I always like to say at the beginning and the end, because usually there's more context at the end, but this one, for Them, well, actually, Them is, I guess, The Walking Dead, right? When Daryl says, we're not them, I guess that's what the title means. Them could also be the guy who approaches them, the friends. I'm not sure I don't know what his name is. I got a little tiny bit, but maybe like one chapter more into the comics, but I don't remember his name or anything. But yeah, so the big thing of this whole episode was surrounding whether Maggie was going to kill herself or not. And in the end, she didn't, which was a bigger twist than if she actually did for me because I read the comics. This is actually a huge twist that she didn't. But I love how they did that, because at the end there, she wakes up, and then she sees, well, actually, first they go in the barn, and she sees the walker there, who was a person who couldn't shoot themselves. They couldn't go through with it. They just let themselves turn into a walker. We also had the walker in the car, who she had to kill. She couldn't just leave in the trunk. She had to kill. But after everything, she goes to sleep. She wakes up, and the first thing that she sees is the baby, is Judith. That's the first thing she sees when she wakes up. And then she talks to Daryl. And then she talks to Sasha. All characters, two characters who don't exist in the comics, and one character not alive in the comics. So, like, that was really nice. For the whole reason she didn't kill herself was because of the differences in the mediums. Was because inherently in this medium, the television show, there were characters who were able to inspire her to keep going, to just deal with it. People who have also lost a lot of stuff, and something like Judith, who is this baby, you know, a symbol of innocence in this world and stuff. And this is after the speech Rick gave, which we'll get to that in a second. That speech is amazing. But yeah, I love how they handled Maggie's attempted suicide. Fantastically done. The show is you know, I love all the differences they do for various different reasons. But this one is up there. This one is up there. And so far, Season 5B is turning out to be much, much, much better than Season 5A. So what else we have? Yeah, okay, so we start off the episode with all the zombies seemingly like they've taken out the wildlife. And I'm not sure if it's just the zombies, because the water has dried up because it hasn't rained in a long time. So all the frogs died. But, actually, I guess it can be the zombies. Also, for a note I wrote down, which is that the dogs killed the deer. So I guess it isn't that the zombies are going after the wild, even though we know they do that. We know that is a thing. But deer are usually faster than zombies. A lot of animals are usually faster than zombies, you would assume. but you would also think, like, let's say like a squirrel gets bitten, like one squirrel gets bitten, and then that squirrel might accidentally spread that amongst the community of them, and then they all die off. But so it might start killing off some populations, but I don't think it's going to be as extreme as I thought. Now that I think about it, when I think about how many animals are faster than a zombie, yeah. But anyway, so the dogs definitely ate that deer. It seemed like, because the deer would have been completely devoured if it was zombies. Same with the human; there would have been bones, or a lot more than what it was. And both were just like partially eaten, as if something ate to get their fill. And the human they probably attacked, because it tried to do something. So that explains why the deers are dying, and animals that are faster than zombies are dying, because there's wild dogs too. And so, yeah, they got to worry about not only the fact that, it's like, well, okay, well, the zombies aren't killing off wildlife, but plenty of other stuff that didn't used to be around, and no hunters to sort of keep the ecosystem in balance in the way that it was balanced in society. Yeah, the just travel seemingly becoming like impossible. Like, going from point A to point B anywhere is so incredibly unreliable. If, like they've said plenty of times before, if you're not inside walls, like, it's death out there. It is a death sentence. And we got that with the hospital too, of being like, inside, as shit as it is in here, it's still better than being out there. At least you can eat in here. At least there's a solid meal. At least you don't have to worry about death around every single corner of every single minute. And yeah, so I really wonder if we're going to get to a point in like 2 years time or something, in universe time, of like multiple big civilizations being up and like traveling between them. I know there is an arc called All Out War, which I can imagine that's what it is, right? Like multiple civilizations, or at least two big groups going at each other, and not like two big groups as in like Rick's group versus Turner's group, as in like two huge communities. Like, I mean, I guess that is sort of like the prison in Woolbury, but more with, if everyone from Woolbury was actually on the governor's side. Instead of like everybody immediately seeing what was going on and sort of like backing down. I'm thinking more of like a bigger scale sort of siege. And even then, the prison was not like a huge civilization. That was a group, I would say. Anyway, yeah, the whole tossing zombies over the edge thing, like, was nuts. Like, it was so dangerous, because if they grab one of your clothes, then you're going right down with them. You're not gonna stop the momentum, not with your exhausted fucking state. I don't think that was. I really don't think that was a good play. I don't know. But yeah, Abraham's just drinking the fucking booze, like he's just like, fuck it. If we're gonna die, I'm going out, enjoying life. I don't care if it's gonna make it worse. It's gonna make it more enjoyable, at least for me. What else do I have here? Gabriel throwing out his thing, giving into his sins, completely just being like, I give up. The world is fucked, and I'm a part of it now. And especially after Maggie had the talk with him, which was completely unwarranted, but still, I'm sure that weighed on his mind again of like, his whole, what were they called? What's the word for the religious thing? Whatever, but he wouldn't let him inside, and, yeah, it's still weighing on him, and he probably's like, fuck it, I'm a part of him. In for a penny, in for a pound, I guess. What else do we have here? Okay, the whole speech with Rick, that kids in this world have it better, which I definitely think is true. I mean, their moral compasses haven't fully grown yet, so they're not like, they're still forming, so they're able to adjust a lot better. They don't miss things. They're not nostalgic for a lot of things, especially the younger they get. They're not. They don't remember that stuff. They don't care about that stuff. I mean, this is actually around the time we got that in the comic where, Rick and Carl are like, what do you miss? I miss pizza. I miss oatmeal. I miss mashed potatoes or whatever. So, I mean, but the younger they get, and also still, it's like, that's what they're missing, instead of they're missing, like, I don't know, important stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, that was a silly arc, but you get my point. They're not going to miss it as much. And they haven't lived as long lives. They don't, I mean, that's just going into it. They don't have as many experiences. They're not in as much pain emotionally as the adults are, knowing, especially now, that, like, it's just never going to be the same. And some characters are trying to hold out, saying that it won't, but I feel like they're not facing reality, and I feel like that's a sign of death. I feel like as much as it sucks, in the end, if you're a good person, you're going to go out like Tyrese. So, I think they need to look at it like how it's going to be. Exactly how Rick said. I think I wrote it down here. What was it? I mean, basically, just like, you know, you've got to survive until you can live. Like, I think that's the best way to put it. We've got to survive until we can live. And that's... But maybe this place will actually last for a long time. This friend group that's coming along, maybe it'll actually last for quite some time. Yep. I don't have anything else other than just like when he showed up, you know, it being like a miracle. The music box started playing. He's coming. You know, he is like the sun shining after the storm and everything. It's very very poignant of a message they're trying to make with this guy. And even though we shouldn't, I trust him because I know it works out. So, I mean, I know it works out to a degree. It could be easily the same. Like if I had just seen, you know, part of Terminus, I might be like, I know it works out, but like, you know, who knows how long it's actually going to work out. Who knows if this group is actually going to be livable with. But next episode we'll see. I'll see it with you guys. So until then, get the fuck out of here.